when he was still a baby. And his murderers were actually a band of thieves. He asked Jocasta to tell him more about it. After hearing the story, Oedipus had a sick feeling to his stomach. He recognized the story.
Many years ago, a herdsman found a baby on a mountain. The baby's apples were cut to death, so the herdsman set free the baby. Another herdsman him the baby, and the herdsman was a servant of the baby.
I can't take care of this child. I'm old. I can't keep it either. But I know I'll take care of this child.
Please don't do this.
I'm sorry, but I need to do this.
Why? Don't do it.
I'm growing impatient for this best advice.
Why? Oh, I pity you.
Go push in the herd's bed and leave me, woman. Goodbye.
Oedipus thinks that Jocasta's objections to his knowing his real parents have to do with the possibility that he may not be of royal blood and may belong to a poor family. The chorus shares that in Oedipus' joy that soon he may learn who his true parents are.
Oh no! Oh no! What have I done? How much does he know?
You, sir, did you give me away?
I really regret what I did.
You will die and listen to the truth.
No. But you know the truth. I'm lost.
But the truth will always prevail.
No again, my son. I confessed it long ago. I gave it away.
Was it given to you? Or was it...
No, it wasn't mine. I had it from another.
From who was it? What house?
Please, master, ask no more.
If I ask you again, I will not be this kind anymore.
Well then, this child from May's house.
Slave born, or was it from this one race?
I said in the earliest edge of speech. I do too, but I must hear the truth. The child's now a living. But she, your beloved, should tell you the whole story.
What? She gave it to you?
It's my king.
Why?
To make away with it.
She's its mother.
Fearing a dreadful prophecy.
What prophecy?
It was told that he was to kill his mother, the king, and marry his mother.
What does it do to this old man?
Through pity, master, for the son, I thought he gave it to the country. But he preserved it for the worst. God pity, we live in mystery.
Oh no! Why? What I have done? I stand a wretch. I'm cursed. Triply cursed. Ah!
Horrified by his realization, Oedipus rushes into the palace. The second messenger relates what has happened in the palace. Queen Jocasta went to her bedroom and locked herself in it. She cried for the death of her husband Deus and wept over her misfortune. When Oedipus arrived outside her door, he cried for a sword, burst through the bedroom door, and saw her hanging from her noose like this. He quickly cut the noose and laid her down sobbing. He embraced her. Then he tore the golden breeches that held her robes.
This touch. My eyes.
And with them he stabbed his eyes repeatedly, crying out that from then on his eyes would only see what he should never have seen. He never would see what in his right he desires.
This eye. Another one.
He tore the bushes that upheld her queenly robes, upraised them high, and said, "No more shall I sleep. I behold such horrible sights. From now on, I only shall see darkness." He struck his eyes with the brooches.
Oedipus comes out of the palace, his eyes blind and bloody. He curses himself and asks to be banished from Thebes. Creon arrives. He has not come to criticize Oedipus. He tells the bystanders to leave and asks that Oedipus not be exposed to such shame. Oedipus asks Creon for the safety of his daughters and that his son can take care of themselves. Creon tells him to leave and tells him that he is no longer powerful.
Banish me. I shall banish you. Where am I going
Once there was a man who's been envied by everyone, but now he is in great shame. Never consider a man.
Life is full of sufferings, and death is